There's some super cheap dropper posts on the market and some really expensive ones. And that middle price range where affordability meets function is full of a ton of different options. But in this video, we're going to be comparing our two most recommended and best-selling middle ground dropper posts, the PNW Rainier Gen 3 and the OneUp Dropper V2. Now, which one of these is best for you? Stay tuned and you'll find out. What's up guys, I'm Mike, I'm the owner of The Lost Co. Now, long story short, there are too many dropper post options on the market to count. The really cheap ones, around $100, typically just feel pretty chintzy and don't have the best track record of being reliable, while the super expensive options around $300 and up will offer a super precise, high-end feeling and better reliability, but will definitely drain your pocket a bit more. Then we have the middle ground of options around $200. Now recently, within the past year or so, this has been a hotspot for brands that hit that $175 to $200 price point with a pretty good feel and good reliability. In a nutshell, buying a dropper post these days around $100 is good, around $200 is better, and around $300 is best. But do you need the best dropper post? Well, let's dig into our two best-selling and most recommended dropper posts around $200. These are the PNW Rainier Gen 3 and the OneUp Dropper V2. All right, let's get into a rundown on features and specs. Now overall, both posts are pretty dang similar, but still different enough to make your decision a little difficult. Don't worry, we're here to help. Both posts are available in 30.9, 31.6, or 34.9 millimeter diameters to fit pretty much all mountain bikes these days. For travel options, the PNW Rainier is available in 125, 150, 170, and 200 millimeters, while the OneUp Dropper is available in 120, 150, 180, and 210 millimeters. So on the longer posts, the OneUp has the edge on PNW with 10 millimeter longer travel, which will especially be helpful to taller riders and bikes with super low seat tube heights. Also, both posts have a very important feature these days, which is adjustable travel. For aggressive riding, a longer dropper post is always better, in our opinion. So if you're in between two dropper sizes, you can adjust both of these posts to get your dropper height to be right where you need it. The PNW Rainier's travel can be reduced 30 millimeters in 5 millimeter increments. So if you purchase the 200 millimeter long Rainier, you can adjust it down to 195, 190, 185, 180, 175, or 170. Pretty sweet. The OneUp can only be adjusted down 20 millimeters total in 10 millimeter increments. So less overall adjustability and less increments with the OneUp. Now adjusting the travel on both posts is super easy, requiring zero tools. Simply unthread the main seal head collar and move it up the stanchion to gain access to the travel changing thingamajigs. The Rainier uses a super easy stepped shim, which you just pull out and reinsert, lining up the arrow with how many millimeters you'd like to reduce the travel by, which is conveniently labeled on the post. Good job, PNW. And for the OneUp, take the brass keys included in the box and insert them into the channels to reduce the travel by either 10 millimeters or 20 millimeters, depending on how many keys you install. So the PNW Rainier does offer more overall adjustability, more increments, and an easier process to adjust travel. PNW markets this as travel you can adjust on the side of the trail, but we're not quite sure who would be looking to do this in the middle of a ride, since you'll most likely just set your travel once and run it like that forever unless you grow, shrink, or get a different bike. All right, now the next thing to look at would be length and insertion depth, as this is a super important factor which dictates how long of a dropper post you can run in your bike. Both the Rainier and the OneUp have some of the shortest insertion depths on the market, making it easy to fit a longer dropper post in your bike. Since both posts are available in different travel options, it's a little tough to do a direct insertion depth comparison, but since both are available in 150 millimeter lengths, we'll compare those. The 150 millimeter Rainier has an insertion depth of 249 millimeters, while the 150 millimeter OneUp is 237 millimeters. So 12 millimeters or around half an inch shorter on the OneUp. And looking at the longest options, the 200 millimeter Rainier's insertion depth is 299 millimeters, while the longer 210 millimeter OneUp is 297 millimeters. So if you're trying to squeeze the longest dropper post into your bike as possible, then that OneUp takes the cake. For weight, the OneUp is a bit lighter and beats out the Rainier. When weighing both posts in the 31.6 150mm option, the Rainier weighs 595 grams while the OneUp weighs 500 grams, so nearly 100 grams or 16% less in the most common size. And what's included in the box? Well, both posts include the dropper posts, travel adjusting doodads, and a cable bushing to hold the cable head at the bottom of the post. Neither posts include a lever, cable, or housing, just like mostly all other dropper posts on the market. Alright, enough of the nerdy stuff. Now, how do both posts perform on the trail? Now, both of these posts have super similar specs, and both posts do feel pretty dang similar on the trail. While they don't feel as perfectly precise as some of the more expensive options on the market, they both do their job going up and down at your request. They both feel nice and smooth and give you confidence that they'll be there for you every time. However, our job is to compare bike parts, and when comparing both posts' feel and performance, we'd say the OneUp has a better overall feel. The OneUp has a louder, more distinct noise at full extension, letting you confidently know that your post is fully extended. The Rainier does make noise, however it has a more quiet, less distinct noise, and you might not be able to hear that it's fully extended if you're riding in a noisy situation. The OneUp also has a faster extension speed, which we prefer to the slower return speed of the Rainier. It's not extremely fast like those old specialized command posts which prevented men from having children.
Alright, now mommy daddy button.
And the Rainier isn't super duper slow like some dropper posts that literally feel like they aren't going to fully extend, but we still feel as if the OneUp's faster extension speed is just more preferable while riding. You can also slow down the OneUp by removing some air from the cartridge under the saddle hardware if you'd like, while the Rainier's speed is not adjustable. Not really a big deal, but definitely worth mentioning. And our most valued characteristic of this OneUp dropper is that it requires much less force to compress. To lower the Rainier, it feels like you have to sink your weight down into it a bit more compared to the OneUp, which requires a bit less force to lower it. This not only just helps the post feel a little bit more smooth and easy to use, This not only just helps the post feel a little more smooth and easy to use, but that characteristic is very valuable to lightweight riders who don't have much mass to sink into the post. Now overall, both posts feel pretty dang good and feel better than the $100-ish options out there. So if they feel better, they must be more reliable, right? Next, let's talk about reliability. We've had both of these Da Vinci Troys built up for about 6 months now and rode them through a super wet and muddy Pacific Northwest winter. A winter out here is sure to show some reliability issues with any bike parts, especially dropper posts. But honestly, both posts feel exactly the same as the first day we installed them, and we've had zero issues with reliability. The first version of the OneUp dropper, the V1, did have some reliability issues, but that has since been fixed with a newly redesigned DU bushing. Since that revision, we haven't seen or heard of a single reliability issue from any customers. Also, we've seen a very small percentage of Rainiers have a manufacturing blemish on the cable actuator, causing them to function incorrectly. However, not only is this an extremely uncommon occurrence, but PNW will replace your actuator free of charge with a revised version, which is extremely easy to replace yourself. And overall, both of these posts fall into the very reliable category, and we think you'll be pumped on the reliability with both options. But what happens in the future when you've ridden through multiple winters and the post starts to feel a little funky? Well, let's head back to the shop and show you just how easy it is to service both of those posts. Follow me. Both of these seat posts are super easy and nearly identical to service. To perform a quick mid-season service, you can unthread the main seal head collar, clean out the underside, and add some fresh suspension grease like Slickoleum. And for a more in-depth service, maybe once a year or whenever it feels like the post isn't working quite as smooth as usual, you can pull everything apart to perform a sleeve service pretty dang easily and nearly identical on both posts. Simply unthread the main seal head collar and slide it up, and then fully remove the actuator by unthreading it and then remove the set screws. You can now take everything apart to carefully clean out the old grease and grime and apply some fresh new grease. Then just reassemble the post and boom, she's completely freshened up for the season. The PNW Rainier is the cheaper option, which sells for $179 for all sizes, while the OneUp dropper is just a bit more, starting at $199 for the 125 and 150 millimeter travel posts, and $209 for the longer 180 and 210 millimeter options. But in the end, we'd rather see you make your purchase based on the features that work best for you, rather than just gauging your upgrade on bottom dollar price, so we'd recommend that you follow our easy guidelines to pick your poison. If you want a cheaper post, go with the Rainier. If you want a post that has more travel adjustability, go with the Rainier. If you want a post with easier travel adjustability, go with the Rainier. And if you want a post that performs better, go with the OneUp. If you want a post with longer travel and shorter insertion depth, go with the OneUp. Or if you're a lightweight rider, go with the OneUp. Again, both of these posts are great choices, and it really just comes down to which features suit you better. Well, there you have it. That's the rundown and our recommendations on choosing either the PNW Rainier or OneUp dropper posts. Now, which one would you ride? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you guys think. If you like this video, click that thumbs up button, and if you really like this video, hit that subscribe button and click that little bell notification so that you don't miss out on our future videos. If you'd like to purchase either one of these dropper posts, click this link right here, head right over to our website, and if you have any further questions, please don't be afraid to give us a call at the shop, 360-306-8827, or shoot us an email to info@thelostco.com. Until next time, well, we're gonna get back on the trails and start testing some other bike parts for you guys. Peace out.